So why Post Oak, right? A story that maybe not all of you have heard, maybe none of you have heard. I find myself in kind of a habit of building in silence or building behind closed doors, working really hard just on my own. The outcome is the outcome. No more, right? No more. I'm going to start showing my work. Quite literally, just start showing what I'm doing, not because anyone's gonna care, right? I don't believe they will, but it's just something that I want to do, to let people kind of in the back door, if you will, of what we're doing, what we're building towards. And again, why Post Oak, right? Why Post Oak Realty that we started in 2019, November of 2019, and now we're 2.5 years in. Why? Why did we do that? Well, that story starts back in 2013. So it was September 20th, 2013, I passed my real estate exam, and I remember I passed one of them. I forget which exam, there's the state and the national, and I passed one of them by one question. So I barely squeaked in, got my license, got started. And before real estate, right? But just prior to real estate, I was a year out of college. I worked at a small finance company. I worked at a small credit union, and they just weren't for me. Just plain and simple was not something that I wanted to do long term. And so I started praying and considering, what do I do? These jobs are not for me. I'm not enjoying them. Where do I go? What do I do? And so I'm praying literally that. Do I go back to school? Do I move towns? Do I go to a bigger town, right? Because I grew up in Collinsville, Texas, which is about this big. It's probably an hour and a half north of Dallas. It's probably 25 or 30 minutes south of Oklahoma. There's not a lot going on there. It's a great place. There's just not a lot going on there in terms of options for jobs that I was interested in. Well, let's be honest, I didn't really know what I was interested in because those two jobs I had was not something that I was currently enjoying. And so with that being said, real estate was pointed out. And to round out my hours at Tarleton in Stephenville, I took real estate law. And anything law is confusing and usually boring, right? Unless that's right up your alley, and then that's perfect. But it wasn't for me. And so I used that class to justify I could never do real estate. And I remember being, a little unhappy with work and what I was doing, and which was a me thing. That was just my personality of something that I didn't want to do. And Dad had asked me, well, what about real estate? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't think that's for me. Well, lo and behold, it is, and here I am. So I ordered my courses. I was green as could be whenever I started. My knowledge of real estate was Dad owns rental properties, a few, and I mow those in the summer, right? That was it. My parents still live in the same house that I grew up in. We've never had to meet with realtors. We've never packed boxes. We've been blessed to just never move. And so I didn't know anything about it, but I was willing to learn and invest myself and grow and keep pushing. And so shortly into my career, back to September 20th, 2013, shortly into my career, I joined a team. I was on that team for a year. I was the number one agent on that team for the year that I was there. 2015, I was putting in the habits, the consistencies, the actions that would lead me to be, unbeknownst to me, the number one agent in 2016, number two agent in 2017, started a team in 2018, left the company I was at for 5 years, left that company in September of 18, hired a business consultant in November of 18, grew my business through consultancy and learning, maturity, time in the business, etc. Grew that by 42% in 1 year in 2019. My team's production grew by 97% in the same year. And ultimately, it was what is next. And my business consultant, he'd ask, hey, what about a brokerage? And early 19, it was yeah, maybe someday. And then I just continued to be, maybe frustrated is not the right word, but I just knew that there could be something better out there. There's something in terms of a brokerage, right? We're kind of getting into the story of why Post Oak. I knew that there was something else out there. And so I started building towards that. And June 18th, 2019, this sticks out for two reasons. And I don't really know which one is more special, right? Joking aside though, passed my broker exam and shot a 78 in golf. Right? That's my first time to ever shoot in the 70s. Never even scared it since. So we're good there. But with that being said, I did that in June, August 8th. I have this weird thing with numbers. I remember a lot of dates. Don't worry about it. But August 8th, I called my coach, my consultant, whatever you want to call him, my business coach. And I said, hey, I know you're a big believer in 90-day pushes and 90-day goals. We're just shy of 90 days. To November 1st, why don't we launch Post Oak Realty on November 1st? And he paused and he said, it's going to be a lot of work, but I really like it. Let's get started. And so on we went, right out the door. We just started sprinting towards this idea and this concept of a brokerage that for all intents and purposes is really similar to everyone else. We provide brokerage services. We have all of the things that all the big companies have to offer to our agents. But for me, and hear me out, I'm calling out no one with this statement. Not a single company, not any company, not all the companies. It was apparent to me from conversations I had had, experiences I had had, that there was something missing in the market. And so our actual mission of the company is to fill a gap in the marketplace regarding the way agents are taken care of, valued, and rewarded. I didn't want people here to be a number. I didn't want them to be a dollar figure. And you'll hear that from a lot of companies, but then there's also kind of like the back end of things, which is, I guess, how agents are treated. And I was tired of the lack of access that agents had to help, to their support system, to people that could help them learn and grow. And so we set out to correct that. I personally believe we're having a great impact in doing that. And I believe that we're affecting many agents' lives, which can change the lives around them as well, which is really cool. But we're really proud of what we've built, and we're so far from done. I want Post Oak to be as big as it can possibly be, which is not my call. I want that to be as big as it can possibly be, and I want to make as much money as I can. Whoa, right? Dude, why are you talking about making so much money? Because I want to give so much money away. I want to be able to buy a house for someone that can't, to buy a car for someone that's in a bind, right? To be able to pay off someone's mortgage just because I can. So I need a lot of money to live out my really, really big dreams. And a lot of my dreams are to give it away and to serve with it, right? And I'll obviously take care of my family with that, but that's why I want this to be as big as it can possibly be, is because I want to serve people. And so that's what this brokerage was built for. Yeah, we've got all the websites and CRMs and the apps and all of these things. We'll get into that later down the road, but we've got all these things to serve our agents. But what I felt was missing in the market was that place that they can call home, that they can call and get access, that they can call and get an answer, right? And that it will be answered on the weekend, right? That was really, really important to me. And so we've built everything that we have. We've built it very strategically. We're a very lean company in terms of employees. Why? Because we run things very simply and very efficiently. We have 2 offices, one in Denton, Texas, one in Whitesboro, Texas, and we're just looking to grow our footprint in North Texas as a whole. Now, maybe that will take us, we are going to move over into Oklahoma, but maybe that will take us further west, further east, further south. I'm not sure yet. But we are very excited with where we are. We're 2.5 years in, but I started Post Oak again, just to round this out. I started Post Oak so that I would have the ability to serve agents, so that I would have the ability to serve my family, and so that I would have the ability to serve others. And I believe that through our core values that we have at this company, which is how we hire and how we fire and how we release agents and say, hey, you're not holding up to the culture that we have, to the standards that we have. That is one way that we're able to impact the lives of others, to impact the lives of agents. And so far, so good, right? There's going to be a snag. There are days that absolutely suck. Ask my wife, right? Because I tell her all about it. Or ask my business consultant, right? That's reality. That's the meat and potatoes of it. But ultimately, this is, again, something that, what would you call that? I guess I would say it is an engine or a vehicle that I'm using to get to what I want to do, right? I have a dream, I have a vision that there's gonna be a day for me that I don't have to work as much. I'll probably always work, but I don't have to work as much so that I can be present with my family. And if it's building through this company, if it's building through another company, if it's building all of that together, I don't know what that looks like. I will keep you updated. But that is why Post Oak Realty exists.